Greetings. Welcome to my weekend market recap, 19th November 2023. I'm Sagar Nandi, retired IT professional, swing trading stocks in the USA and India markets using the Q systems and techniques that I developed. You may contact me using my email ID info@superiorprofit.co or tradingprofitably@gmail.com. I regularly share live market and stock analysis on my website superiorprofit.co, X handle Superior Profit, and YouTube channel Trading Profitably. Here I try to share trading ideas where I combine technical analysis, that is a proper Q trade setup, along with market sector industry fundamental and sometimes even seasonality forces aligned with the technical direction. That gives truly high probability trades. All these channels are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Disclaimer: this demonstration is for educational purposes only. I am not an investment advisor. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. Options trading can be risky. You may refer to the characteristics and risks of standardized options document from OCC to decide if options trading is suitable for you. I use the Q systems and only Q systems for my trading. Q has multiple components to carry out the technical, fundamental, sector industry rotation, breadth analysis, seasonality analysis, etc. All the Q components run on Metastock platform and the technical analysis component runs on TradeStation as well. That was the last slide. Let's continue with a look at the markets, starting with dollar index. In this area, dollar index was moving inside a triangle pattern. Here it broke out of the triangle pattern. When it was inside the triangle pattern, that time I had mentioned in market recap that if dollar index or the ETF equivalent UUP broke down, that would be bullish for the market. That is common wisdom. That happened, the broke down happened or breakdown happened, and then the market also recovered. In the last market recap, dollar index was around here, and I mentioned that it is hovering near the trend line support that was broken, and it is not uncommon to see an instrument breaks down below support, then goes up just enough to touch the extended broken support line and then falls down again. This is quite common, something like a dead cat bounce. Breakdown, then recovery, but recovery to which point? To the extension of the broken trend line support, and then it falls again. That is quite common, and dollar index did exactly that. Now if I clear the lines and we look at the candles, the breakdown candle was a very long bullish candle. Sorry, not bullish, of course, very long bearish candle. The recovery happened with candles that were much smaller in sizes, and then when it fell again, that candle was also very long bearish candle. After that, for 2 days it moved sideways, showing indecision at the low, but it could not go up. Instead, it fell again on Friday. The weekly candle closed with bearish shaped candle, bearish color candle. 2 weeks ago also we had a bearish shape, bearish color candle, and it is tilting down or reversing from the trend line resistance in weekly chart. Still far away from the weekly trend line support, far away from the next daily trend line support. Looking at the weekly daily, I anticipate dollar to fall more. If it falls more from here, that will be bullish for the market, tends to be bullish for the market. The other possibility I think is that it may go up somewhat and touch the trend line resistance and also so many declining direction lines. Actually, 4 declining direction lines are right at this place. So we have the resistance from 5 items, 1 trend line resistance, 4 direction lines, all of which are declining. It is unlikely, possible of course, market can make everything happen, but it is unlikely that it will simply break through all these resistances in one go. So I think it may fall from here, or if it goes up little bit, it will hit all these resistance lines and fall from there, and that may give us a bullish move in the market. Also notice the big moves one after another from here. We had big move down 3 extreme bearish momentum. It started even when price was inside the triangle pattern. That alerted us that dollar could move down going forward. However, if we were trading US dollar, we would not actually short it until this breakdown happened. Then it continued with more big move down 3. There is no big move up 3 in the entire screen length. That is also showing that dollar is getting weaker. That may be bullish for the market. We'll look at the USA market of course, but before that let's quickly look at some of the major global markets. Starting with All Ordinaries of Australia. In the weekly, All Ordinaries is indecisive shape but bullish color. In daily, it already has higher low and higher high. In fact, on this day, if we look back, on this day we had a bullish flow signal and also a flow trend following long setup. The weekly was already bullish from 1 week ago. Therefore, on this day, the flow setup met all the checklist conditions and we could take a long trade right on this day. The initial profit target for the flow long setup is the upper boundary, which was hit the very next day. Now I am going to expect it to go up either from here or even better for it to pull back little bit, come to the trend line support and go up from there. That will give me the next buying opportunity after this flow long setup. By the way, this flow long setup was the first trend following long setup that we could take after this long downtrend. If we have another flow setup here, that will confirm the uptrend. The uptrend will be continuing if that happens. I look for that. Notice also one thing more, and this I have mentioned several times earlier. We had jump thrust low at this point. Also price extreme low at the same time, and then we had a big move up 3. Jump thrust low at price extreme low, big move up 3. More often than not, it leads to continued up move. That is also another reason I am going to look for long trades in the Australian market rather than looking for short trades. Japan's market Topix index. Apply the checklists again. On this day, we had a flow signal shown by the tick symbol below the candle and also a flow trade setup which is having the flow tick as one of the requirements. One of the requirements, but there are other requirements. When all the requirements in daily are met, then we have the flow setup also. We have also a checklist condition on the weekly, that is the weekly backdrop has to be bullish, and it was bullish for some time. So on this day we had a flow trend following long setup. We would buy on that day. Again, if you look back after this downtrend, this was the first trend following long setup that we had. Initial profit target would be the upper boundary which was hit on Friday. So partial profit at least would be booked on Friday by people who took the flow long trade. On Friday, it also triggered the flow long setup with a flow signal. However, price is already at the upper boundary. I would not like to buy again, but the position that I would have taken on this day, partial profit could be booked and partial position could be held with trailing stop trying to let profit run. I am expecting Topix also to go up. However, I will not like to buy now. Next, China CSI 300 index. China has several market indexes like many other markets like USA, India, etc. In this case, I opened CSI 800. CSI 300 was taking some time. Now, CSI 800 is a broader index, but that is fine. It is also representative of the Chinese market. This is very different from what we saw in the Australian and Japanese markets. Those markets were bullish. My view was bullish. Current market condition is bullish, uptrending for both Australia and Japanese markets with higher high, higher low. That is different for the Chinese market. It has lower high, lower low. And it is trying to break below the narrow triangle pattern as well. Trying. Weekly is also downtrending. Tried to recover somewhat after the bull release signal, but moving sideways with doji candles for 2 weeks. Downtrending in weekly, downtrending in daily, and trying to break down below triangle pattern in daily. If it goes down next week, I'll prefer to short China market than buying. What about UK's FTSE index? This is different from all the three we saw so far. It's moving sideways in both daily and weekly, right in the middle of the sideways move. When something is moving in a range created by this trend line resistance support or watermark resistance support, this pivot resistance support, I like to buy at the lower edge, short at the upper edge using the concept of Q box trade setup. But when it is right in the middle of the range, that is a no trading area and I stand aside. Last global market, Nifty 50 of India. Daily is inside a range. The upper edge of the range is defined by the watermark pivot resistance, lower edge defined by watermark pivot support, white direction line, trend line support. Inside a range and it is at the upper edge of the range, I would not like to buy now. In the weekly, however, it is showing bullishness. Therefore, if it can break out of the range, break out of this watermark resistance next week, then I will look to buy. Not Nifty 50, that will not match my style. I don't like to take breakouts where the recent swing low is so far. So I will not like to buy Nifty 50 even if it breaks out. But if Nifty 50 breaks out of the watermark resistance, I'm quite sure there will be individual fundamentally strong stocks in strong industries giving low risk buy setup, that is stocks that are going up from recent swing low. So I will turn bullish on individual stocks if it breaks out to the upside. On the other hand, if it reverses from the watermark resistance, then I will look for shorting opportunities in individual fundamentally weak stocks. And see how I am talking about and executing the alignment of multiple forces. I can do that in real time in any market, including India and of course in USA market, in all global markets in fact. That is the view of the global markets. Interesting view, different view. UK market sideways, right in the middle. India market sideways near the upper edge. Australia and Japanese markets uptrending. Chinese market downtrending. What about the USA market? I was using Q Global to look at the global markets and dollar index. I could continue with Q Global on Metastock for USA market, but let's switch to Q Elite on TradeStation for looking at the USA market. I do look at the ETFs futures indexes in my real trading. During the weekend webinars, to save time, I may look at ETFs or futures, only one of them. You may look at the other instruments, that is, if I am looking at ETFs, you may look at futures on your own. This is S&P 500 ETF SPY. When price was here, I was starting to buy and I shared those buying ideas. When price came here, I stopped buying and I publicly stated that. However, when it broke out here on this day, that was a sharp breakout and there were many bullish indications across the board in all the Q analytics. So I suggested buying on that day again. I did share one potential candidate that actually did not confirm the trade setup. We look at that. However, the market has continued to go up. The major move happened on this gap up day. The next 3 days has gone up little bit but not much, but it has not come down. And we can see price is sharply moving up. Why I say sharply is because we have a trend line support that is inclining upward at an angle more than 45 degrees. Very sharp upward move. That is a very strong bullish move from this swing low. And you see the start of the move happened when the big move up 3 bullish momentum came. In the entire screen length, we did not have any big move up 3. So I do, and you may also keep an eye for the big move up 3 to see if the market trend is changing suddenly. Notice also that when the first big move up 3 happened, market was not in an uptrend. It was still having lower high and lower low. However, soon after that it broke out of the trendline resistance. That was for SPY. When the big move up 3 happened in SPY, individual fundamentally strong stocks might be breaking out at that point itself. So SPY broke out in fact on this day, but individual fundamentally strong stocks in strong industries would have broken out on this day itself. Stronger stocks will of course break out before the market index. So when we have enough bullish signal in the market across the board, using Q analysis we could look to buy, and I was looking to buy here when it was already at a very low price extreme. I will later look at the stock that I thought of buying on this day. It did not confirm the setup, but I will look at that. That will show how Q traders identify trades and also identify trade candidates and also not execute the trade unless the setup is confirmed. SPY is looking bullish. It is overbought for my liking, so I am certainly not going to buy now. Not SPY, it is too extended. It is stretched to the upside or overbought for 6 days, well above the upper boundary, but it is bullish, no doubt about that, and very strong bullish move. QQQ, Nasdaq ETF. Sorry, I was on mute for a while. Let me start with QQQ again. QQQ also had a very sharp up move. It is something that I call wild move, when price can go from below the lower boundary to the upper boundary in one go without making a swing low in between. So that was a wild move, and after that price continued to go up. Tuesday had a very big gap up move. After that price has gone up slightly. Weekly has broken above the trend line resistance. If it continues to go up, breaks out of this narrow range, 3 days 4 days range, that will be bullish, but I am not going to buy QQQ because that is overbought. Individual stocks may give buy setups if QQQ continues to go up. On the other hand, if QQQ reverses back below the trendline resistance in weekly, that may give very low risk shorting opportunities in individual stocks that are constituents of QQQ. DIA, first thing I notice is that it is underperforming the market. This copper color line tilting downward is underperforming the market, but it is also sharply going up with a trend line support tilting upward sharply. And here I mentioned earlier, the up move from the swing low was easiest to catch because we had a bullish headwind, the unique reversal signal, bull release signal, and big move up 3 all come on the same day when it also completed a false downside breakout. Right on this yellow candle, we could buy DIA, or we could drill down into Dow Jones Industrial constituents to look for stocks that were giving buy setups at that time. We had multiple buy setups in DIA in daily chart on that day. One was a box long setup and another one was also a headwind long setup. So that was the easiest of the market instruments to buy at the swing low. It is continuing to go up, but it is very overbought. I don't like to buy so overbought instruments. But if it can once again break out of this 3-4 days range to the upside, individual stocks may give low risk buy setups. IWM, Russell 2000 ETF. Russell 2000 is also uptrending now with higher low, higher high, has a trend line support. However, it is much weaker compared to the other market ETFs that we saw. The instrument that underperforms, sometimes that tends to be the next outperformer. So I may, or you may also look out for that. We do have a flow trend following long setup in IWM on Friday. For all the other market ETFs, I said they were all too overbought for me to buy, but I can see on Friday we have a flow setup, buy setup on IWM, and it is not overbought at all. So following my low risk approach, I would rather buy small cap stocks now, looking at how IWM is now. That is a look at the market. It is bullish across the board. Small caps are not overbought, others are overbought. Let's see what is our analysis from the other Q analytics. Sector industry stock advance decline across 1 month, very bullish, that's long term period. 10-day period also long term bullish. 5-day medium term this week is also very bullish. In between we had some weakness. Over 2-day period it is bearish, but Friday is bullish again. So longer term bullish, little bit deep, then going up again. That is a kind of swing low move, up move from swing low, where I would like to buy. So sector industry stock advanced decline breadth is telling it is time to buy. Is it overbought? From bucket analysis, that is distribution of the stocks in Q Edge, that is S&P 1500 stocks across their respective Bollinger Bands, becomes overbought when percentage of stocks in the uppermost bucket, that is above upper Bollinger Band, hits 30 to 40% level. It is nowhere near that at just 5.9% level. It's not overbought. There is a long way to go and it is bullish. We can also see that from here 84% of stocks are above mid Bollinger Band. So bullish but not overbought. That's certainly a time to buy. And again, I may prefer to buy small cap stocks because that is not overbought, looking at IWM. Let's look at market breadth internal health check. There are multiple charts for that. I will not look at all of them. Let's look at the market breadth total view. Looking back, when price was here, oversold both in terms of percentage of stocks above 50-day MA hit the oversold level, 3-month new high low hit the oversold level. That was the time I was starting to buy and publicly stated that. Worked once again, it went up. Now the yellow line here, that is percentage of stocks above 50 MA, is uptrending. It is not overbought yet. 3-month new high low going up but not overbought yet. That is a time I would like to buy. So market internal health check is also telling that it's okay to buy. Again, I would like to buy small caps. Now let's look at the small cap versus large cap. This line plot, it was tilting down for a long time. That is, small caps were underperforming. It is not uptrending yet, but if it can go up above this high next week, that will make it uptrending with higher low, higher high. That will be the time to look to buy small cap stocks. Small caps are the stocks that are not overbought. So that will be a lucrative opportunity to buy. Growth versus value. Growth stocks were doing better. This plot was tilting upward. Now it is flattening out. It may come down or go up both. If it comes down, value stocks will be preferred to buy. If it goes up again, growth stocks will be preferred for buying. Many investors who follow IBD or even HGSI, they like to buy small cap growth stocks because when those stocks move, they move a lot. So we can use these two plots to decide when it is the right time to go for small cap growth. That will happen next week if this growth versus value tilt upward, and if this small cap versus large cap tilts upward and takes out this previous high. That will be a lucrative opportunity to buy small cap growth stocks because small caps are not overbought at all. Lastly, let's look at technical breadth. We only make money buying stocks if they move in our favor, if the stocks go up. So technical analysis is important for making money. Look at the technical breadth from Q Finder. Weekly technical breadth, bullish across the board. It is looking somewhat overbought, but when you keep in mind the fact that the small caps were very much down and even now they are not overbought, some of this bullishness may be coming from small caps. If those small caps were too oversold, it is normal to see such sizable, too much actually, a little bit more than I would like to have bullishness in the weekly interval. But considering the fact small caps were too oversold, that is expected, I will still like to buy small caps if small caps go up next week. So it is bullish. Daily technical breadth, Friday's plot is also bullish across the board, not overbought. By the way, I am looking at these analytics and I am going through them quickly. If you would like to know the detail of all these systems, they are available on my website superiorprofit.co. If you go to learning page, there are many publicly available, all learning materials are publicly available, including many masterclass videos. There I explain all the systems and you will understand why I am pointing here and I am saying it is not overbought, why I am pointing here and I am saying they are bullish. So they are bullish, not overbought. By the way, if I go back to the weekly technical breadth, one thing I noticed is that the bullish headwinds are hitting the threshold level. That is also another reason for me to be bullish. So I looked at the global markets, more bullishness than bearishness, I may say. US dollar looking weak, that is bullish for the USA market. The USA market ETFs are all bullish. They are also overbought except IWM small cap. but certainly bullish. Sector industry stock breadth bullish, not overbought from bucket analysis. Technical breadth weekly daily bullish, weekly has bullish headwind hitting the threshold level. So everything is looking bullish. If I want to trade swing trades, I would like to only buy, not like to short this market. I may try to look at some stocks, but before that, let me also review the only recent analysis that I shared. That was this stock, GLPI. And you see, I am reviewing them to explain how I am using the real-time queue systems to identify a stock. But before the stock, first I am looking at the market. That is it time to buy stocks. So this is a snapshot, live snapshot I am sharing on 14th November in the morning session. All my times are in Eastern time zone. So 14th November morning session I am sharing this snapshot of Q Edge showing sector industry stock all were bullish. Just one day earlier they were bearish. So it was a sharp turnaround. And I noted that percentage of stocks in real time above upper Bollinger Band hit 40%. That was too overbought normally. However, I mentioned that many strong fundamental dividend paying fund accumulating stocks in strong and accelerating industries are giving a buy setup at a lower price level. This is what I mentioned about small caps also, IWM. IWM was oversold. So when it started to move up, it is expected many stocks would hit the upper boundary suddenly. That was what probably happening on this day. So I took that in consideration and I still decided to buy, though this percentage in the uppermost bucket was more than 30-40%. And notice how I'm finding stocks. I'm not finding overbought stocks. I am finding a stock, GLPI, that gave a proper trade setup, and this is in the morning session. I'm doing the analysis. But not only about the technicals, I'm also finding a stock that is fundamentally strong, high dividend paying, funds were accumulating, stocks industry was strong and accelerating as well. So this was a view of the market. This market view from QH allowed me to buy. I found this stock again in the morning session, GLPI. In the weekly, it was breaking out of the trendline resistance with a bullish backdrop. In the daily, it was breaking out of multiple trendline resistances with bullish flow and a possible flow setup as well. Plus, it was showing that big move up 3 extreme bullish momentum after hitting jump thrust low and price extreme low. And it was actually at price extreme low and reversing, it was coming out of a squeeze as well. So as of the morning session when I shared it, it gave a beautiful breakout as well as flow trend following long setup. Now these setups are to be confirmed at the close, and that I mentioned once again with my snapshots. See if the gap and breakout setup, it actually had a gap up setup also, gap up. So gap, flow, breakout, three setups were in fact there. Flow, gap, breakout. So I mentioned that see if the setup is confirmed at the close. In the morning I am finding the candidate and I am saying that see if it is confirmed at the close. But that was not the only analysis I shared. Looked at its fundamental scorecard using Q Vital for GLPI, undervalued stock with increasing earnings growth, high dividend yield of 6.48%, funds accumulating, insiders are buying, and 100% of 55 peer stocks were up. So there were many reasons in terms of fundamentals to buy the stock. Valuation, increasing earnings growth, dividend yield itself was a reason to buy the stock. And I looked at the industry, other specialized rates. It was one of the top 20% in strength and one of the top 20% in acceleration, and it was up. The industry, not even the stock, the industry was up by 7.6% as of the time I shared the analysis. So in the morning session, this looked like a very nice buying candidate, but we had to see if the setup confirmed. And I followed up with a snapshot later on. Same day, but after the close, 14th November, after the close, and see what happened. GLPI came down below both the trend line resistances, at least one of them with a long upper tail. You can see here, yes, it came down below one trend line resistance, close to the other trend line resistance with a very long upper tail. It did not confirm any of the trade setups, and you could know that if you are following Q systems, you know the checklist, or you could use the commentaries. That is an intelligent program that reads the chart out for you. None of the buy setups were confirmed, so we would not buy the stock at the close of the day. That is how we can find buy candidates, but also know when to buy. That is when the setup is confirmed. This stock did not confirm the setup, but there were other similar stocks. I mentioned in the tweet that there were other stocks with similar characteristics. I don't remember, was ASB one? Let's look at ASB. The day when I shared GLPI in the morning session, it did not confirm the setup, but I also noted several other similar stocks. ASB was one such stock. On the same day, ASB also gave a breakout setup in the morning session, and it actually confirmed the breakout as well as the gap setup. That's what I mentioned. In real time, we could find all these candidates. Some did not confirm the setup, some did confirm setup at the close. If I look at weekly daily, on this day we had a flow setup in ASB also. This is ASB, Associated Bank Corp. We had a flow long setup. We had a gap up long setup, and from the historical chart we saw that it had a breakout long setup also. So the exact same technical setup that we saw in GLPI, GLPI did not confirm, but ASB confirmed the setup, and I actually took a long position in ASB. You see, technically I could run the same analytics to find similar stocks in the morning itself. Some confirmed, I bought them. Some did not confirm, I did not buy. Now ASB was similar in strength to GLPI, not only in terms of technicals. Let's look at its fundamental. I ran the scorecard already. Again, using QVital, I could find all these strong stocks in real time. Undervalued stock, fund accumulation, insiders are buying, analysts are bullish if you would like to care for them, and also a decent dividend yield, 4.8%. And this is of course real-time scorecard. On that day, when I shared GLPI, that day the industry was bullish. On Friday also I see in itself 95% of regional banks went up. So on Friday also this is bullish. So the industry continued to be bullish. So ASP was a stock I identified on the same day, confirmed the setup, and I already took a long position on the same day. I'm holding that position. There were other similar stocks as well. I came back to review these two stocks, one I shared, one I didn't share before, to show how in real time you can carry out the analysis and then decide whether to buy or not at or near the close. Now we saw that small caps were not oversold. So what I could do, I could look at the constituent stocks of IWM, that is constituent stocks of Russell 2000 using Q index. Q index helps me to do constituent analysis of any index in any country. Here I am doing that for Russell 2000. In the graphical form, it is showing that gradually it is improving. There was a dip in the middle over 2-day period. That dip in the middle we saw in sector industry stock breadth in Q edge also, but Friday again turned bullish. 5-day is bullish, longer term is also bullish. So longer term bullish, little bit deep in the middle, then going up again, as if it is going up after a swing low. From an overall angle, higher level angle, Russell 2000 small caps is a buy. 78% of constituent stocks went up. Why don't we carry out a fundamental scorecard analysis? So it is retrieving data now from Refinitiv for all the constituent stocks. And once the data is retrieved, it will calculate the scorecard. We'll have a look at the scorecard. What will we do with the scorecard? We'll try to find fundamentally strong stocks. Just like I found GLPI earlier, I found ASB earlier. Now I am doing similar analysis in real time in the market recap. And what I am carrying out now, this workflow is what I call fundamental first. I am looking at fundamentals first, not at technical setups, not at industry strength, but I'm looking at fundamentals first. What am I going to look for in fundamentals? We can do in many different ways. I'm doing in a particular way now. Once you learn about these systems, you may have your own way of using it. I'm first choosing the stocks that went up by at least 1% on Friday. And I see some stocks went up by very huge percentage. And remember, these are all small cap stocks. When small caps move, they move a lot in either direction. And Friday was very bullish for small caps, IWM constituents, and we can see the huge moves in many of them. Now let's focus on growth stocks, small cap growth. So I clicked another button. Actually, I click this button to find stocks with high earnings growth in the last quarter. What I have now, I have small cap growth stocks. All these are small cap because they are part of IWM or Russell 2000, and they are all growth stocks, and see how much they went up. Now, before looking at their technicals, I would like to see which of these stocks are in strong industries. So a single click will take me to Q Edge and show me the industry scorecard, and I'm going to sort them, focus on only the ones that are in the top 20% of all industries. And I'm going to tell Vital now that show me the small caps from only these strongest industries. Go back to Vital. What do I have now? I have now small cap stocks, constituents of IWM. I have small cap stocks with high growth. I have small cap stocks with high growth up by at least 1%. Some of them are up by huge percentage, in fact, on Friday. And I have only those stocks that are in the top 20% of all industries. How many stocks I have now? 114. So starting with about 2000 stocks, IWM constituents, I am left with only 114 stocks in the top 20% of all industries. Small cap growth stocks going up by significant percentages. Now I don't want to open 114 stocks. Single click, I am looking for proper Q trade setup, not signal. Proper Q trade setup, and I'm cross-referencing Q finder for that. I am now left with 15 stocks. What are these 15 stocks? Let's step back again. See how easily I am doing real-time analysis. What are these 15 stocks? These are stocks with at least one or more proper buy setup. We'll confirm them whether they are low risk entry points using Q charts. Using Finder, we are seeing their possible buy setups. They are small cap stocks, high growth small cap stocks, up by significant percentage, and they are in the top 20% of all industries. Now, I could open the 15 stocks now, but I could also sort by price extreme and look at the only few stocks that are at price extreme low. Remember, IWM is not overbought. Many small caps were oversold. And why don't I look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stocks first? Single click opens the 6 stocks. What am I opening? Strongest industries, small cap growth stocks, up with proper buy setup. We'll confirm the buy setup on the technical charts. GPRE, this is GPRE. Let me reject the ones I don't want to buy. This is one that is interesting. It has a possible box long setup at jump thrust low. That is an interesting point to buy at price extreme low also. If it breaks out of the trendline resistance, I'll like to buy. So it may go into a candidate list, but I'll not like to buy now. If it goes above the trendline resistance, it will also form a false downside breakout. I'd like to buy at that point with stop below the recent low. That will be a low risk buy point. I'll wait for that. It goes to the watch list. This one is looking better. Play, sorry, not play, RLAY, realty, sorry, not realty, what am I saying? RLAY, relay, think relay therapeutics. Also at thrust low, price extreme low, and then came a big move up 3, starting to go up now. Has trendline support, no nearby trendline resistance, has a flow long setup in daily on Friday. Let's look at this stock using weekly daily. Let's use Q Elite also sometimes. That is RLAY, RLAY. This is what I like. It has a flow long setup at quite extreme low price, which already showed a big move up 3 at this point. Has trendline support. Weekly is meeting the checklist conditions for flow long setup. And if you look back after this long down move, this is the first flow long setup that is possible. First trend following long setup after this long down move. That is the most lucrative buy point with a small stop loss. See how I am finding stocks that are at actual buy point. I am not interested in seeing myself or showing to you stocks that are already up. There are plenty of stocks that are already up. They are not at low risk buy point. I don't buy them and I don't like to show them also. They will show that market is going up. That we could see from all the market ETFs other than IWM. But now I am looking to actually buy stocks. RLAY is one such stocks. We already know it's a small cap growth stock in one of the strongest industries, and now we find a low risk buy setup as well. Well, that was one possible buy candidate, RLAY. Let's go back to Q Global and see if we had few more buy setups. I have some more time. IOVA. I will wait for this trend line resistance to be broken. It came in the list because it has a possible flow long setup, probably the first buy point either this day or this day after this long downtrend. However, that buy is not confirmed buy because there is a trendline resistance. You may wait for the trendline resistance. It goes to a candidate list, watch list, but not a buy now on Friday. Next, ALKS. This broke out of one trendline resistance, came up from trendline support, jump thrust low. Remember, a small cap was oversold, didn't go up so much that it is overbought. That's why I am looking at small cap constituents, and I'm finding interesting low risk buy points. It is at jump thrust low, price extreme low, at support, broke out. However, there are too many resistances nearby. See this chart and see the one that I selected so far, that is here, RLY, Relay Therapeutics. Relay Therapeutics has no nearby resistance, instead it has nearby support. Weekly is also clear. This is the kind of stock I would like to buy, and not this one ALKS, where though one trend line resistance is broken, there are many resistances one after another ahead. So close that. Next one, TGTX. I like this one also. TG Therapeutics. See how long did I take to say that I like this one? Not even 1 second. It fell a lot, came near jump thrust low, clearly at price extreme low. Then once again came big move up 3. In fact, came big move up 3 here also. Once again here. Since then, price is not going down much, not going up much, except on Friday when it broke out finally of this trend line resistance. So it was in a downtrend. This is the first day one could buy, and one could say that it is now in an uptrend also, because the range created by trendline resistance, trendline support, that range is broken now. So now just on Friday it started to be in an uptrend with, you may say, because it has a breakout higher high, and you could say this is higher low, and it's a breakout candidate out of a range. What happened here? It came down to stop out weak hands. At the very bottom, interestingly, came the unique bullish headwind reversal signal. One could look to buy, take partial position at that point itself, or the first bullish flow after bullish headwind. But I didn't look at this stock at that point. I'm looking at it today on Friday, and I'm saying this is also having a possible buy setup, and the key thing for me is to have a low risk entry point, and here I will put the stop just below all these direction lines. In fact, 4 of the 5 direction lines are below price. They are providing support. To confirm the setup, I'd like to look at weekly, daily. Let's look at that. TGTX. Clear. Now I see it's even better because weekly is also having a breakout from trend line resistance. Daily is having a clear breakout from trend line resistance with bullish flow plus a flow long setup. Relative performance is tilting up. So that is how in any market condition you first decide, using, if you are following QTX, whether you want to buy that is based on market analysis and not just using market charts, ETF charts, but also using market internal health check, using sector industry stock breadth, and using technical breadth. When you decide to buy, you decide what kind of stocks to buy. I prefer to buy small caps now because they are not overbought. I always focus on lowering risk first. Buying overbought stocks, that is QQQ style stocks, SPY style stocks, would be buying overbought stocks. That will be high risk. I don't want that. So I focused on small cap stocks. Small cap growths tend to move a lot. So I easily found the small cap growth stocks moving now with proper technical trade setup, and also stocks in strongest industries. And I found several buy setups that are at low risk buy points. 2. And you could look for more stocks. TGTX RLAY. Now let's go back. I want to go back to have a one-page scorecard for these stocks. We already know they are high growth stocks, but let's look at the full scorecard. One-page scorecard, RLAY. Trading can not only be profitable, it can be hugely stimulating. At least it is for me, and that is because of the way I use these real-time systems. The visual systems that tell me instantly where the strength is, where the weakness is across sector, industry, market, technicals, seasonality, everything. This is RLAY. It is in biotech industry. Let's look at the biotech scorecard. Biotech industry is improving. Scorecard is improving. Whether you look at industry score or alternate industry score, the industry is up by significant percentage on Friday. So these graphs show me that the industry is telling me to buy. But I also want to look at industry rotation over longer period, and with one click I can look that up. It's very beautiful. It's one of the top 20% industries, and see how weak it was earlier. Also showing acceleration over both, one of the top 20% accelerating industries over both 2-day and 5-day periods. So it was a laggard for a long time. Industry score shows that, and now only biotech is starting to go up, became actually on Friday one of the top 20% strongest industries. And we found this stock RLAY, high growth stock, and it is also a turnaround candidate. See, the industry was turning around, and in terms of earnings growth also this stock is turnaround candidate. It has a short squeeze potential. 77% peer stocks went up. So that was when one stock we found, RLAY. Other one was TGTX. Let's look at TGTX fundamental scorecard also. It's also in the same industry, biotech industry. Interestingly, the two low risk buy setups I found, both of them are in the same industry. That is also sometimes in favor of buying stocks in that industry. When proper low risk buy setups using 360 degrees approach, multiple of them come in the same industry, that is also a reason. And between them, TGTX is even more stronger in terms of fundamentals, because it is not only having huge earnings growth and a turnaround candidate in terms of earnings growth, but it is also undervalued, has a short squeeze potential. So some similarities in terms of earnings growth and short squeeze potential as in the other stock, but it is also undervalued. and I see insiders are buying this stock now. So fundamentally, TGTX has more reasons to buy, same industry, and technically this is TGTX is a buy setup, and RLAY is also a buy setup. You could buy one or both of them. Both has low risk buy points. That is the key thing in all Q360 degrees setups. We are at 1 hour point. Let's end today's session here. The objective of this session is to show a disciplined approach to trading and to show that in any market condition, how you can hone in on the lowest risk buy stocks in a bullish market like now. And if it is a bearish market, you could do the same for lowest risk shorting candidates. Thanks a lot for joining. I look forward to seeing you in my next session, probably next weekend. I'll inform the date time on Twitter as usual. Have a great weekend, and as this live sessions show, as I always say, there is no reason not to do that, trade profitably. Thank you.